mysterious figure from Raw has everybody talking, so we're going to see what that's about. We're also going to check out what is up with Chelsea Green, Javon Evans, and more. Starting things off with Chelsea Green, and yet another fun theory that's going around right now involving her. Chelsea Green is just over a week into being WWE Women's Champion, and it's been a pretty jammed-packed week with everything that's been happening lately. They teased a rivalry with Jax, Chelsea got pinned in her first ever match as WWE Women's Champion, and she even suffered that orbital bone injury, so definitely a pretty hectic week there surrounding the women's title. But, besides everything else that appears to be happening for Chelsea Green on the surface, you got fans wondering if something else could be brewing for Chelsea under the surface. And that is everything between Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. Yeah, Tiffany and Chelsea's history with each other dates back a pretty long time, I think we can say. They had a lot of segments in recent memory where they really stood on opposite sides of the fence. Chelsea was the heel, Tiffany was the babyface. Chelsea even had her own nickname for Tiffany that was also a diss, and that was the nickname of Tacky Time. But then as time went on, Chelsea started to redeem herself, and she came to the rescue of Tiffany Stratton on several occasions. And even after all of those saves, Tiffany didn't really want anything to do with Chelsea Green. Given their history and everything that they've gone through, Tiffany just continued to reject Chelsea and turn her away. But then, right before SummerSlam of 2026, things finally clicked there for those two, and they started to finally bond. Tiffany finally accepted Chelsea as a friend, and they even had matching ring gear together, too. But this growing friendship had a slight bump in the road at SummerSlam when Chelsea did knock Tiffany Stratton off of the ladder, but that, of course, wasn't personal. It was a match where it was truly everyone for themselves, so there was nothing devious about that action. It's just what the match called for. And then, as we know, Chelsea Green went on to win that ladder match and become the new WWE Women's Champion. So now the big conversation here that the fans are having is if this title win for Chelsea Green is going to change any of the friendship aspects that are now in place with Tiffany Stratton. As many fans have pointed out, back in 2025, Chelsea and Tiffany were holding each other's current titles. Tiffany was the WWE Women's Champion, and Chelsea Green was the Women's US Champion. But now, current day, those title holds are reversed. Chelsea is the Women's Champion, and Tiffany holds the US title. So you got some fans wondering if this is going to light a spark of jealousy under Tiffany Stratton. You know, maybe Tiffany's portraying the whole act of being Chelsea's friend and being happy for her. But what if it's quietly bothering Tiffany to see Chelsea as the women's champion? And what if Tiffany still has a really strong desire to be WWE Women's Champion again herself? Could Tiffany have a hidden agenda here? Could Tiffany be warming up to Chelsea Green even more now in the immediate future? Not to be close friends with Chelsea, but just to get Chelsea to bring her guard down and for Tiffany to inch closer to that WWE Women's title as a result? It is a path that many fans are considering, especially if Tiffany loses her US title anytime soon. If Tiffany does lose that title anytime soon, then yeah, this betrayal theory right here is probably going to get a lot more life and momentum to it. Tiffany goes through this slump where she loses the US title and then basically becomes a sidekick to Chelsea Green, who's still holding the WWE Women's title. You got to figure out at some point along the way, Tiffany Stratton would snap out of it and ask herself how exactly she went from being the WWE Women's Champion and US Champion to now being just the right hand for Chelsea Green. You got to assume that there's going to be a point there where something just clicks in Tiffany's head and she says, yeah, enough is enough. And I think that would lead to this epic betrayal moment as Tiffany Stratton then takes out Chelsea Green, betrays her, turns heel, and then sets her sights back on the WWE Women's title. And of course, in the midst of all of that, it sets up another huge babyface narrative for Chelsea Green, because now she's going to have to deal with the deep betrayal of somebody who she thought was a close friend, but was actually just waiting for the perfect moment to strike and only cared about the title. Now, having said all of that, Tiffany Stratton has stated across many interviews that she does really enjoy portraying a heel. And a storyline like this would put Tiffany right back in that big heel position. Tiffany originally debuted on the main roster as a heel, but at the same time, the fans gravitated towards her so quickly that it pretty much forced WWE's hand to turn her babyface pretty fast. But through the whole act of betraying Chelsea Green, I think that could be a big catalyst that finally shifts Tiffany's character back into being a heel and lead towards a really great story and feud there. Now, of course, something like this would have to be a slow burn storyline, so if they were to do something like this, It's going to take a mighty long time, folks, to really develop and take place. But as long as Chelsea is able to hold on to that title through this injury that she's currently battling, looks like this is going to be a fun title reign for her with a lot of potential twists and turns along the way. We'll see. Now, under the Triple H regime, a big recurring tactic that they use is this tactic of continuing other storylines and narratives through Easter egg moments in the background of other segments. So fans have become accustomed to looking into the background of interviews and other segments to see if anything of value and substance is indeed happening in the background. And a moment from the August 10th edition of Monday Night Raw went extremely viral recently for this very reason. During Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman's backstage conversation, there was a woman that appeared in the background of the shot, appearing to be on her phone. And yet nobody was able to identify who this woman was. A lot of names were thrown out and mentioned by the community, but it wasn't any of those picks. So this has a lot of fans wondering if this mysterious woman is important and was meant to be shown, or if it's all just one big coincidence and accident that she just happened to get in the shot. Usually, whenever anyone is within the frame like that being shown to us, we can all assume that this is significant. But it is also possible that maybe it was just a hairstylist that just happened to be standing in the frame. Or maybe it is part of something much bigger. Definitely too early to tell, of course. So we're just going to have to continue to keep a close eye out on Raw over the next few weeks to see if this mysterious woman does continue to pop back up. Javon Evans is one of the WWE's overall youngest superstars. And he's also one of the superstars with the brightest futures ahead. Javon Evans is currently 22 years old, and he's going to be 23 in April of 2027. And a big, long-time goal for Javon Evans was for him to try and become the youngest world champion in WWE history. And I think if anyone has the best chance to break that record, it's gotta be him. The current record for the youngest world champion in WWE history belongs to Randy Orton at just 24 years old. So come 2027, Javon Evans is going to start to be on the clock if he does want to really break the record. Once he turns 23, time's going to start ticking for him to break through and become the youngest world champion of all time. Javon Evans himself has stated that it's very much still a big goal of his. And not only does he want to break the record, but he says that if he does become world champion, he wants to bring back the classic big gold world heavyweight title, the same exact title that Randy held when he became the youngest world champion in history. And I think that goal's possible, for sure. We saw Cody Rhodes bring back the Winged Eagle title for a limited time, so Javon Evans bringing back the big gold world title to celebrate that big milestone of becoming the youngest world champion of all time certainly seems possible. Will it happen? Don't know, but we'll see. But anyway, what are your thoughts on today's stories? Make sure to leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.